back. The songs that are playing in my head don't make sense because I was just on TikTok. So, but welcome back to yet another exciting Wednesday. It's Woman Crush Wednesday, and it's just fortunate I'm crushing on one of my friends, Tafadzwa, who's coming to talk to us about the vision board. Now, if it's your first time on this platform started because of this book that I wrote, A Letter to My Son, 40 plus 1 Lessons of Life and Success. And this book, I wrote it while I was in hospital. It was actually a letter to my son that went public. And it's just fortunate I had written 41 lessons. So every week I speak to someone I think and I know is living their truth concerning the lessons I've written in the book. Now, for the past 2 weeks, we have had the first lesson, which is Don't Judge a Book by its Cover, and then the second lesson, which is Never Assume. Today, we are on lesson number 12, lesson number 12, and we're talking to one of my friends, Tafadzwa, who's always teaching people about make a vision board. So as per usual, I'm going to read something from the book and then I'm going to add on to Tafadzwa and then we start our conversation today. It's going to be exciting and I hope you have your tools ready. I hope I'll show you the tools that you're supposed to have. So let me read this for you. It's a very, very short paragraph. It's straight to the point. It says, lesson 12 of the book says, your mind feeds on the words that you say and the pictures you paint in your mind. The best way to do this is to have a vision board. When you are setting foundation for your future or shape your goals and your dreams, a vision board is the most useful tool. It reminds you of what you are believing in picture form. How do I make a vision board, Mom? You ask. Well, I'm glad you asked. I wonder. Take a lot of magazines. Those are the tools you need for images, paper that you want to cut out, glue for you to stick on different things that you believe, dreams and desires. And of course, you need either a board or a piece of paper and a scissors. That would be whatever it is that your desires, the house you want, a car you want, a watch, a partner, even the business you intend to start. And every day, twice, if you can, when you rise up in the morning before you go to sleep, look at the vision board, be excited about it, attach your faith and emotions, and believe that the universe will deliver. And that's called the law of attraction. So that's basically what the vision board is all about. And that is what we want to make today. We want to make a vision board. My glue, I have my scissors, I have my magazines, and I just couldn't find a large piece of paper. So it doesn't necessarily mean how big the paper is. I also have a paper, and I'm waiting for Tafadzwa to actually teach us. But of course, we want to know who Tafadzwa is, what she gets on about, and of course, make the best of it. Hey, girl, how you doing?
Great. How are you doing?
I am so excited to have you on this platform.
I'm so honored that you invited me. Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it.
The honor is actually mine. So, Tafadzwa, we won't waste time because you're a brilliant human being and you're pressed for time. Just tell us a bit about yourself. Who are you? Where are you from? Who's in your family? What's you all about? I just want to know who this girl is because I know you, and the people who are going to watch this or who are watching this also want to know, who is this woman or this beautiful woman who rocks natural.
Wow, where to start from? So my name is
Mhm.
Tafadzwa Sasa. On global platforms like this, I explained that I'm a Zimbabwean from Zambia. I'm a
Okay.
Zimbabwean from Zambia for the last 7 years.
Right.
Came here for love, found my work and my people here. So yeah, I found my no focus.
We
Um,
always are like this on this platform. You're allowed to be yourself.
right. So um, I am married. I'm a wife. I am a mommy to a 4-year-old boy. So
Okay.
really, really love letters to my son. Um, I'm a daughter. Didn't want to Bete. I was the Betes are the ones who gave birth to me and raised me. I grew up in Zimbabwe. For the bigger part on the very outskirts. Like I grew up in Chiweshe, in the rural areas of
Okay.
Chiweshe, because my parents were teachers. Then I
Right.
went to and then my career started in a bank ABC, is where I started my career. They gave me a great opportunity to start with my career, and they
Okay.
introduced management. So I studied human resource management for my undergrad.
Right.
Part of that, by Bank ABC, who also gave me an opportunity to intern with them, which means by the time that I graduated, I had about 4 years of knowledge around how do things work in HR, and I had
Right.
been training. And for me, that seeing how people had performance issues and then they were
Right.
trained, improved on their performance was quite
Mm-hmm.
mind blowing, because it was just the concept of like when you're struggling to do something, sometimes you feel like I can't do this, I'm struggling, I'm failing. And then seeing
Mm-hmm.
people being taught certain things and then being able to improve their performance was like, oh, wait. So sometimes we struggle only because we don't have the information or the knowledge. And I
Right.
decided that I wanted my life to be about, to help people to get the knowledge, the tools, the skills, sometimes even just the perspective that helps them realize that they have the capacity and the power to create what it is that they want in their lives. So many things along the way.
So I hold that. I'm gonna rewind a bit because it seems your story of who you are and the Tafadzwa you became comes from where you grew up and you wanted to change who you were gonna become. So how did you get that exposed? Because you came from, I would not say, I mean, Ina also grew up on a farm, but where did the exposure of knowing that there's more to life than what I am experiencing right now?
So here's the funny story, and funny because so when we live in Chiweshe, if you know where Chiweshe is on Mazoe Road.
Yeah,
And as you're getting into Harare from Mazoe Road, you pass Bank ABC, right?
right,
And totally forgotten that connection. In my
right,
head, what happened was Bank ABC came to my high school, the boarding school that I
right,
went to, the OOs, Mr. Francis Tsanya, he learned there. And so he lured a donation back to the mission school. And as part
right,
of their PR, they shared that they were willing to give people internships. Now, I
right.
didn't choose that because I thought it was fancy. So
Mm-hmm.
I went chasing after that internship because 2007, 2008 in Zim, that's when I finished school, right?
Right.
And my parents are parents. So the conversation of university school fees was just like, abana, like, it's not really going to happen.
Never,
So
yeah.
I went to Bank ABC because I had to find a job, and I remember that these people had come to our school, and they said they'd give us internships, and that's how I went to ABC, because I it was literally my only option, right? And my dad
Right,
reminded me that when we were young and we would be driving into Harare, right? My dad reminded me, Guti, I used to say like, and Bank ABC, if you know their office, they have a ship, right?
yes,
And
yes,
when you
yes,
it's lit up. And so it was one of
yes,
my highlights getting into the city, how it was lit up. So part of it was just the fact that for me, a lot of the work that I do has never been kind of optional. It's just been the thing that has to be done at the moment. So my going
right,
to bank, the thing of, I'm not going to be able to go to university. I need to find a job. And I ended up at
right,
Bank ABC. But I've been so fortunate because I've been constantly exposed. Everywhere I go, I get people who show me what the next level is. And I've given
right.
myself to dream for the next level.
Mm,
Wherever I'm always looking around, and I've been so blessed because I have giants who have put me on their shoulders and said, look, Taffy, look, you can do that. You
further.
can be.
Come on. Yeah.
And I have permission to pursue all of those things.
So
So
you so so because we're talking about a vision board, and a vision board is as far as you are exposed. It is the things that you see, things you read, things you hear, you touch, taste, whether coincidentally by mistake or otherwise. So
Yes.
who you became and who you are and becoming was as a result of an encounter of this sheep, people coming to your space and letting you
Yeah.
realize that there's more to life. Although, like you said in your conversation, you did not think it was within your reach. Like it wasn't within your, what can I say, your class or your, what it is
Yeah.
that is meant for you.
You see, the thing, Soko, is how there's a perception around, right? That certain things
Yeah.
are certain for certain. And I recall that even when, like, there are so many places that I get into, and you look around and you can see how everybody else is in the room, right? Because of their dad or because of the school they went to. I grew up in Shueshe. I went to MSU, right? And so one of my things is I thrive on ridiculously big ideas. I see
Right.
things qualified for either because of my background or because of where I currently am. And I'm like, I want that. And I am going after it. I don't know how to qualify, but if God has planted the desire in my heart for it, I'm going for it.
So, okay, that is so profound. I love that. I love that story that you've said everything that you see is within your reach.
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely, yes. If it's for human
And
beings,
that there's no limitation. There's no
no,
limitation.
no. I think the only thing that I've made peace with is that certain things might take me a longer time to achieve, but
Right?
I'm pay the price. I'm willing to make the commitment to, if it's taking me longer, I'm willing to wait longer to get to it. If it means I'm going to work harder, I'm willing to work harder until I get to it. But I really, no, I hardly ever look at things and think that.
And
Right.
I'm upset with them because they are my family and they should know I have this program every Wednesday anyway. But so because what brings me to what for me what sticks out for your story is that you paved a path for yourself. You didn't wait for people to give you the approval. You didn't wait for people to give you the right to, how you wait for people to validate you, to say you now belong, or, welcome to the circle. You're like, I'm going to create my own circle and I'm going to make that circle bigger.
Always, always.
I'm,
Um,
I'm, I'm in awe. So how many are you in your family, Tafadzwa?
so I have an older brother,
Uh-huh.
his sister.
Right. And in your
Yeah.
growing up, when you were experiencing all these things that you are now more exposed, you now knew this, that, and the other, did you bring them into this conversation or you took the path and left others behind?
That's a very good question. So, my baby sister is relatively very young, but she's definitely like she's gonna get the exposure in the household
Okay.
that she didn't have, right? Because big sister. So in a way, I think she will grow up thinking that my path is the normal, and I'm so grateful for that, right?
Right.
Um, and my brother, I think conversations have continued, right? So in a way, we're living the best of our own paths. Though our stories or the image of how our not look exactly the same, we are both doing the best that we can on our own paths.
Yes, because charity does begin at home. And I know you're impacting a lot of people. You're speaking into great minds, great people who are going to change the course of Africa and beyond, of course. And that is
Yeah,
why, for me, I was like, let's have this conversation about a vision board. I've seen you do sessions. I've even threatened to join some of them, and some I did on my own when I was in hospital. You do remember, and I told you I just did a
yeah,
vision board and I still have it. And I think majority of the things up there are things that I've accomplished. I need a new one. I need a new one.
Girl, it's time.
So
We need.
let's talk about this vision board, because in as much as I wrote it for a 15-year-old, it applies to me, his mother, a whole 38-year-old. Because how do you know that the things that I am dreaming, the things that I am envisioning, are what I really want, and they're not things out of envy or things out of, like, if she can do it, I can do it, type of thing. But
Right.
that is actually what you really want.
That's such a great question, Soko. And two things that I do when I facilitate my vision board sessions is, number one, we start with an assessment, right, of where are you right now in your life, right? So I share 12 possible life areas, and I think the thing that I might do is I can share with you the pre-work that I send to my people, and if anybody wants to access that pre-work, they can get in touch with you.
Okay.
So I literally help people to be like, first of all, where are we? Before we even decide and think about where we want to go, can we be realistic and look at where we are? And lately I've started doing a thing where I ask people to recall all of the great things that they have had, that they have done, and that they have become, right? And I love that anchoring because it reminds you who you are. It kind of reminds you how far you have come, all of the amazing things that you have done. Then we do an assessment of, so where are you right now? And that assessment for me is interesting because I actually ask people to rate themselves on a scale of 1 to 10. How happy are you with where you are in the different life areas? And I have people thinking about, okay, so what's working in this area and what's not working in this area? So in a way, it's a very objective assessment of where are you, right? What has brought you here? What's not working in your life? Where do you want to go? And I check on why is that important to you, right? And another thing that I always do is now connected to my goal setting. So when we're setting our goals, we're talking about the specific things that you want, the measurable of like how much of it do you want. But I also talk a lot about relevance, right? In terms of, is this relevant to your values? Is this relevant to your situation, right?
Right.
Is this
right.
And I usually give the example of how for the longest time I always thought that I was going to go and do my master's in Europe.
Okay.
Right. Well, I knew that I wanted to do it abroad. And then when we got married, I was like, okay, I still want to do it abroad, but maybe Europe, because Europe has much shorter programs. And this conversation for a long time. And when I finally decided that I was now ready to do the program, I had to reassess my life and say, okay, here I am. I am married. I have a child. I'm running a business. Do I want to go away for that period of time, right? And how do I balance it? And so my goal of doing a master's was still valid, but it was now at a place where it was compromising all the other things that I really cared about. It was compromising certain things that I really cared about. So then you begin tweaking it, right? Like a master's abroad is great, but for me and for where I was, it was not the top priority, right?
Anymore. It changed. Yeah.
Before I do the MBA. So then I had to make a different decision to do my MBA on a program that allowed me to do the program online, but still run my business, still be with my husband, still be with my son, and take care of all the other things that matter to me. So I could have done.
You do this wheel of life or whatever it is, the assessment, with full cognizance of who you are, where you are, and what it is you can access, cannot access, and what it is you can do to either go around it or to live within it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
yeah,
go ahead. Okay.
It helps you filter some things out, right? Because you realize you have different things that matter to you, right? So your priority. And so when you're talking about things that you envy because other people are doing it, you then ask yourself, but where am I and what is happening in my life right now? Do I really want to put my time, money, and energy on this? Or do I want to put that into something else that I already have that I value?
Right. So then how then do you balance fake it till you make it and your truth? because there's a whole live within, like believe in vision, fake it till you make it, that is sold. I don't believe in it, of course, but I know it's said, fake it till you make it. And then there's the truth. How do you juxtapose these two scenarios?
That's an interesting one. My approach to life and to goals is that I am working on becoming the person who can create and sustain who I want to be.
Right.
So I don't necessarily believe in faking what I am not yet. I believe in authentically who I am becoming along the way. Which is why, for me, one of the things that I've heard a lot of people who say, I made a vision board, I put it away, and everything that I put there came to pass. And I'm like, well, my personal school of thought is, if you put out the intention that you want something in the world, I believe that you accelerate the journey by consistently looking at this thing that you want to become and ensuring
Absolutely.
that on a day, the choices you want are aligning with who you want to become, right?
Yeah.
And I always say to if you're trying to become a millionaire, whether your plan is to win the lottery, you need to play the lottery consistently, right? Or
Absolutely. Yeah.
if your plan is to become a business person, you need to run a business on a consistent basis.
If
So
you
for
plan
me,
to have your own TV station, you need to be on Instagram every week.
thank you, and bring amazing people and host fun conversations. So yeah, I don't believe in faking it until you make it. And I think one
So,
of the things I try to
so
do in
because now see, because a vision board, I mean, you know, I'm a believer of the vision board, and I totally encourage all my mentees and people I coach to say you should have a vision board. Now, it's the things that we put on the board, because the things you put on the board, are they big, hairy, and audacious, or do they have to make sense in your mind to say, this is how I'm going to get to this big roll of money? Or you're just going to be, I just want a big roll of money, universe deal.
right. I definitely think that there are a lot of things that I put on the board, which at the point I had no idea how I was going to make it happen. So
Okay.
that's the power of a vision board. It's like, right. So it's
Right.
that's the difference between goals and vision board, right? Like goals are like very practical. So what are we going to do? How are we going to get to it? And you know. But with a vision board, it's like, Lord, I just want this. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I want it. So I'm gonna put it out there and trust that somewhere along the way it's gonna come to pass. But you have to position yourself in the right places. One of my favorite vision board things that ever happened to me was meeting Fusi Tembekwayo, right? Yes, yes, yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Sis met Fusi.
Tell me about it. Tell me the process. Actually, this is a practical process. So what magazine did you cut him out of, Grieliza?
I actually got an online version. Like the first time that I made a digital board, I got a
Okay.
picture of, and now, so this is the thing, right? That I found a picture of Fusi. And one of the times that I went to South Africa, right? So this is why I was saying that it's not enough to just say I want to meet Fusi and stay in your little corner, right? So one time I go to South Africa, it's
You
the
have
time that
to be, you have got to, what did my mentor say? I was just in a coaching session before this. My coach said, her exact words, they said, you create your own opportunity by showing up.
yes. So I'm in South Africa and I'm like, so I go on social media because we are millennials. So I go on
Yes.
social media and I'm like, I've got this theory that you're always 2 or 3 people away from anybody. Now, I'm in Joburg and I just got Fusi's book, Strategic, because I'm not just going to say I'm in South Africa and I just want to meet Fusi. I have his book and I want him to sign it for me. So can you people do the things? That's how my social media people went on and they tagged him and the things happened and he was like, sure, come through to my office. And I went and I met Fusi and we did, and I asked him some questions because I had also been reading a lot of his content. So I asked him a question and I said, Fusi, can we go live on Facebook as you answer these questions for me? So if you don't believe me, go and check my Facebook Live. There's a whole video of Lucy answering my questions. But the point is, the point is, don't create a vision board and then not take the steps to be in the right room. Create your vision board and don't fake it, but take all the steps that are going to position you in the right places. Take the bold moves. What business did I have tweeting or putting it on Facebook that I want to meet Fusi? But I had nothing to lose. I just wanted to meet him, right? So it's also the true of knowing that, oh, by the way, I'm also going to meet Uncle Barack in the next few years. But oh girl, yes, absolutely.
Get yours, auntie, get yours.
So yes, it's the are you preparing yourself and positioning yourself to get the things that you want? Because the other thing that I've learned is that it's one thing to get something, it's another to keep it.
That's right? True. It's one thing to obtain, it's another to maintain.
So we could put on a vision board a nice, gorgeous, ripped, kind, happy looking man. You could get, but if you have not been working on your character and your personality, you only keep him for so long. Similarly,
no, actually, you will miss them. You actually miss them when they show up, because you're only preparing your vision. You're not your eyes. You're not preparing the totality of yourself to receive this thing. And that's the next conversation we must have, Tafadzwa, to say it's one thing to put it up on a vision board. It might be digital. It might be actually like mine. I'm old school. I want to see it on my wall. But are you preparing yourself to receive what it is that, do you even believe it? Like, are you ready? So how do I even get myself ready, Tafi? How do I get ready to receive what's on my board?
So I think that part of it is and I say to people, no pressure. I'm not pressuring you to make a plan on how you're going to get, but know what it takes to get there, right?
Yeah.
And like one of the things that was on my vision board that came to pass was giving a TED talk, right? I wanted to give a TED talk. Now, preparing yourself is, I've been speaking for a very long time. I was a Toastmaster, right? I've been working on my craft for a very long time. And so it's understanding. And I say to people, a lot of the things that you don't have now, you don't have them because you have not yet given what it takes to get it. I'm going to repeat that.
You repeat it. You have not given what it takes to get it. Okay.
So you haven't paid the price, right?
All right.
And so the price for success in your career is working really hard. It's attention to detail. It's raising your hand for things. The price for a good relationship is putting your ego aside. It's being understanding. It's being thoughtful. It's prioritizing somebody else over you. The price of good health is making good daily choices in what you do and how you take care of your body and all of those things. A lot of people don't know or understand about the price. And that's kind of where it goes wrong, right? Because you don't understand what it's going to take. So if you don't understand what it's going to take, you're not even preparing yourself for it.
But wait, Tafadzwa, I have a question that might, blow this whole thing apart. Because it's one thing to might not have what it takes, but isn't what it is you're doing, making a vision board and etc., seeding into saying this is the path that I want to walk? Because once you think it, you feel it, you vibrate it, you've seeded it. It means you are changing what's happening in your subconscious mind to refeed your conscious mind. So I think, are we not sometimes too hard on people? Because I think the best inventions come from the laziest of people. I mean, the laziest people have created our convenience, right? So is it also then not scary to say to people, it's like you must suffer? I feel like, that whole you must suffer, put in the time. Is that not, making people think, so what's the point? I mean, what's the point?
Soko, I am in a place in my life where I'm like, I'm not going to hide away from the conversation of the process, because the
Okay.
process, okay. So I believe in God's grace. I believe in favor. I believe in the universe, channeling you all of the things that you deserve in your life.
Yeah.
But you used a good analogy of planting a seed. If you plant a seed and then you go ahead and come and bring a big rock and put it on top of what you have planted, even if God was planning to send the rains and just, grow the seed without a bag, don't put a rock on top of the seed you planted, right?
Great
So,
analogy. Great
so
analogy.
is I don't think it's fair to say just do a vision board, then go and do whatever you want and trust
Right.
that it will. That is not my school of thought.
That's
It's
why.
one thing
That's why in the book. That's why in the book I say to Tawanda, when you wake up in the morning, look
you
at
can.
it,
I
feel
love
it,
that.
think
Yes,
about it,
yes,
embrace it, right? Go about your day. The seed needs to be, it needs to be mulched, cultivated, and what. When you go
yes.
about your day, there are things that will align themselves towards what you have envisioned. When you come back at home, before you sleep, look at it again and say, what have I done towards that wine collection? There's a wine collection on mine. What have I done towards a wine collection? Right? What have I done towards, I even then got the laptop and all the things that are there. Like, what have I done that has actually also helped my process towards obtaining what is on the board?
Yes, yes. So absolutely. I'm like, don't like remember my thing was don't if you plant a seed, you might not need to sit there and and watch over it. And that's the other mistake, right? Of like if you've planted the seed, don't then just sit there and stop doing other things in your life and just waiting for this thing to grow, right?
Right.
There is seasons to things. But my big thing is don't put a rock on top of the seed that you planted. Don't go and make stupid decisions that don't qualify you for the vision that you want. Even if you plant the seed of wanting a Range Rover and then you go and commit crime, do you want God to
You're
deliver
not
it to
gonna
a
get it.
prison? Like,
You're not gonna get it. You're not. Like, sure, there's also a range on my wall. It's actually an all new discovery. That's what's there.
oh,
So 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 Tafadzwa, let's do the practicality of an actual vision board. Walk us through the process. You've started the phase one. You go through the 12 parts of a person's life and say this, that, and the other. And then what? Now we've done this whole assessment. We know what it is that you've assessed, you've graded yourself. And then what?
and then we begin dreaming, right? We begin dreaming. And now it's a question of, if this is where I am, what would ridiculously big look like for me? What would
Okay.
the version of what I want look like for me, right? So now you are in a place where you are dreaming from a place of, I really like the gratitude practice because it reminds you how far you have come. It reminds you how much God is.
Lesson 41 in the book. Lesson 41.
Right. Yeah. So it's the thing of like, I feel like when we start dreaming from a place of gratitude, we dream differently because we know that he has done it before and he's about to do it again. Like several pressed down, shaken together, right?
Running
Um,
over, will it flow? Yes. Okay.
so now then we're going through it, right? You're now going through the magazines. If you're doing a digital one, you're literally going on Pinterest or whatever it is that you find pictures. And I do like to make sure that you kind of are aware of the different 8 areas to make sure that you're creating a balanced vision board, right?
Right.
A lot of great vision boards, and it's all about the money and the career and the love, right? But where's your mother? Where's your father? What is your relationship with your family going to look like? What is your spirituality going to look like? What is your personal development going to look like? So then it's just finding images that represent that best version of you, the wildly, ridiculously bigger version of you. So it's now just finding the images that represent that, images that are going to energize you, images that are going to be like, yes, whatever I'm going through today, it's fine. It's part of the process. But I know where I'm headed and I know what I'm becoming along the way. So creating the board itself is pretty much just finding images that represent your wildest, biggest, ridiculous dreams and pasting it on a collage, and like you said, putting it somewhere where you see it every day. My vision board is actually where my white shirts are every morning as I'm choosing which white shirt I'm wearing. My vision board is right. I'm looking at it every day just to remember that this here is where we're going.
So you then have, I like what you said, that because a lot of people, when it's vision board, it's the houses, it's the cars, it's, but when you do this assessment of 12 areas in your life, it means that every area in your life needs a projection, needs a seed, needs for you to say, this is where I'm going. So I'm going to put this under spirituality, this under education, this under all that. You can still hear me, right? Someone also tried to call you, didn't they? Okay, something's happening. My data or hers, I'm not sure. If you can hear me, please put a thumbs up or hearts so I know if it's me or it's Tafadzwa. That's what I need to know. I need to know. Keeps happening. Okay, I don't know if I'm still on and if people are still here. Okay, I'm gonna try while we wait. Money. Okay, let me find Tafadzwa again. There she is. Let me add her. Okay, there you go. Okay, you guys can hear me. So the different categories that she mentioned of the assessments that you're going to do about your life. Okay, welcome back. We had lost you for a moment.
Africa.
Zambia and Zimbabwe are exactly the same. So when you have these categories and you're like, this is what I want to do, if it's gardening, me and nature and the environment, me and traveling, me and my kids, me and my partner. So you're saying the collage shouldn't leave anything out. We usually over focus on one thing and then we abandon another thing.
Yes. And that tends to cost us, right? Because you will have all of the things that you have, but if, for example, you're abandoning your relationships, when things get difficult in the area that you're prioritizing, who is going to support you, right? If you
Exactly.
are prioritizing your career and your money making over your body, when your body crashes, right, you're not even going to be able to do anything. So I love the wheel of life because it's very realistic in the sense that our lives are all connected. In as much as we may prioritize one area at a certain point, if the other areas are not being taken care of, at some point, it's bound to crash. And then
It's
you'll be
bound to.
forced.
But someone on this platform, and I don't know why people are not asking questions, and questions are welcome. Please do ask your questions. People would ask you, but how much power, Tafadzwa? How much power do I have to change a situation I'm in? Isn't everything that's happening to us what is? And we should just accept it and trust the process. What is it? Why do I think I've got that much power?
Because you have it, right? Because you can do all things through Christ. Because I don't know, whatever you believe in, there are so many things and principles that confirm our power to create the things that we want, right? And I get that argument.
Have you watched Inception?
Not yet. But I
You
have,
must
listen,
watch it.
I have so many things, Soko, right? I have so many things that talk about the fact that, so I struggle with this, but I really believe that we have the power, right?
Of course
Because
we do. Of course we do. Of course we
yeah,
do.
and that's the whole
Yeah.
premise of, I think that's the whole premise of my work, right?
Mm.
In the sense that you can always, and I'm currently reading a book on personal accountability called The Oz Principle, right? And it just talks about the fact that life happens, but you have the power to decide. Okay, you can't control how life happens. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond to it.
Can I just blow your mind out?
Talk to
Because
me.
Inception says you control what happens to you. Because what you're doing right now controls how it's going to happen tomorrow. So you actually control what happens and how you respond to yourself. That's
Yeah.
we are actually in total control of everything that we do.
So there we go. So there we go. I absolutely believe that there are things that, but you know what? You know what I think is then interesting, Teddy, is,
Yeah.
for example, the fact that I'm controlling what I do, right? But I can't control, for example, what my husband is doing, right? But our
No.
lives are sort of connected. So that's the one thing that I'm like, I might control my life, but I know that there are things that are outside of my control, right?
Right.
But what I always have is the power to choose how I respond to that, and the power to choose how long circumstances or events keep me in a place, right?
And
Or
also
even,
circumstances and events, when they begin to reoccur in your life, what does it mean? Because it means you're still in control and you keep not learning from it. So until you learn it, it's always going to circle back.
yeah, yes, 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 and yes.
Right. So so basically what you're saying is I have total control of myself. Although, I'm from the woo-woo world. I'm from the crazier world that says even my husband, like I have enough power to impact. I have, if I, when I get married, I do have enough power to decide how this thing is gonna go. Because my intention, my power, my emotion, my energy is directed in a certain way. It's not manipulation. It's called power of the subconscious mind. But you know what?
Okay.
What I love about your sessions, what I love about your sessions and the videos that you post every day is they're teaching us that the vision that you have made is a vision that you can each day walk towards. Okay,
Yeah.
so there's a question here says, "Hi Soko, I'd like to know what Tafadzwa's take on deja vu is, on the notion of tapping into activating your subconscious into your lived experience.
Right.
Deja vu.
Okay, so let
I
me,
can
I'm gonna,
okay,
Farai,
while you're searching in
yes.
your brilliant mind. So Farai, hey Fari, go and watch Inception. And the reason why my coach directed me to Inception when I'd been stuck about deja vu and etc. Because we have the power to move forward and back with our mind. So sometimes our mind does project it, it does experience it, it does envision it, it even plays it out. And then when it actually then happens in the present conscious self, you're like, wait a minute, this has happened again. Yes, it did. It happened in your mind. You just manifested it. But in your mind, you
Right,
did not, when you picked it out of the subconscious, you didn't take it all out and in how you played it out. So it's like a vision board. You envision every day you go to bed, you envision, oh, I'm going to drive an all new Discovery. Come on, Tandy, all new Discovery every time. And then
right,
when it actually then happens in the conscious, and the only part that comes out, or I remember, is then the part I drive off. And then you're like, but I've seen myself drive off here before. It's because you
right,
didn't uproot the whole envisioning from the subconscious into the present. Or most of what you then fixated on is the part that completely surfaced for your conscious. So deja vu is basically yourself. And if you believe, in the star seed, that those that believe in a lot of other things, to say people are transported at night, they have conversations and etc. If you believe in that, deja vu actually happens. But also the things that's why, when I had the car accident, Tafadzwa, my
yes.
coach asked me, when did you decide to crash? And I thought she's crazy. I didn't decide for a drunk person to get out of the road and hit me. But in all, when I then went through my thinking and the things I used to think in my passing subconscious, I would be like, hey, I work so much. The only time I can rest, and these are things I used to say in passing, the only time I can rest is like if I'm in a hospital or something. I just wasn't specific for a month, and then I had a whole year in hospital. So there's some things that we actually plant without know, and it comes with emotion. Because if you attach things with so much emotion, like I really need to rest, maybe I just need to go into a hospital and stay there so I can rest. Oh, they're like, and then what? I can do all things, right? And do all things, yeah. Anyway, tell
I
me
can
about
see
your
one
deja
of the
vu,
year.
Taffy. What did you take out of your deja vu diary?
That's that. I don't think that I've actually given a lot of thought into this from a
Okay.
very subconscious psychological perspective. That the
Right.
only thing that the only kind of very practical goal setting equal to that, right, is just the planning, right? Tendai, that I'm big on planning, right? Like
Yes, I
um
know that.
the the, and for me that's part of it, right? It's the decision of, so what am I going to do today? It's the setting
Yes.
the intention, right, of this is what I'm going to do today. And so by the time that I'm actually doing these things that I planned, in a way I've already primed my subconscious to be like, okay, this is what we are going to do, right? But I also love actually the whole visualizing process of just putting things out, imagining and thinking what it's going to be about. There's a lot of research around how your mind can't tell between what you're imagining and what is real, right?
True.
So that ability to be like, okay, we're now going to go through this experience, and your mind doesn't know whether it's real or not. So I think you actually gave a much more detailed, and I've also learned from your response to that.
So, Taffy, tell me, you do a daily nuggets. What has brought you to want to give us daily nuggets in under 5 minutes? What is it that you intend on people learning from them?
So it's actually not daily. I've now reduced it to weekly because
Okay.
I have
It
so
was
many
daily
things.
before. Mhm.
It used to be inspiration as we go. But like I was saying to you, it's the constant thing of asking myself, where am I? And where
Okay.
do I want to direct my energy? Where do I want to put my energy and my time into, right? So, for example, right now I'm doing school, I'm doing my MBA. Um, I have a family, I have a whole full family of like crazy good fun people. Um, I definitely take a whole lot more care of myself, just allowing myself to rest, to journal, to think on where I am, right? So it's now like I do post consistently, but the videos are now definitely once a week. And for
Mhm.
me, I think the one thing that I do in all the work that I do is to remind people that you have what it takes to create what you want. There
Right.
is a process that you have to go through. There is a price that you need to pay. There are people that you might need to bring into your life or let go from your life to get what you want, but you have the power. And that's the thing. When I talk about setting vision boards and setting goals and all of the things that I talk about, I just want you to realize and remember the fact that you have the power to create the life that you want. One of the things
You're
that
right.
really hurts me, and I guess the thing where all of this started from me, is the fact that, year in, year out, we all get time, we all get energy, we all get money. But I think there's nothing as sad as getting to the end of any year and know that you have spent money, you have spent time, you have spent energy, and you still don't have the things that you really want in your life. I think that's
That's
a sad
true.
thing. I think that's a
That's true.
deeply sad thing. So for me, it's just the concept of today you had 24 hours. Did you channel any of those 24 hours to the results that you want? Or you're allowing other people to define where you're directing your time, or you're not even being intentional about it. You're just wasting it, seeing other people direct their time, money, and energy to what they want.
Wow, that's profound, Taffy. And I also want you to talk to people as we almost round up about having a vision board and partnering it with journaling. Why is it important?
So I love journaling. Fun fact, there, there are times when I journal because I'm saving myself from sending a stupid email. There are times that I journal because I realize that I'm about to jeopardize the vision, right?
Right.
There are times that I journal because a client has done or said things, and I'm about to say or do things that might mean that I don't get to work with the people that I want to work with, or somebody in my personal life has said or done things. So, okay, I'm being serious. Journaling for me is number one, a space to process things objectively, right? Of being
Okay.
able to step away from everything and being like, okay, what just happened here, right? Um, I find it as a place for me to even process my ego, my pride, my insecurities. In my journaling is where I really have the conversation of, okay, what is going on here, right? What is going on here, right? So for me, journaling is number one, processing, and I value that objective processing space because sometimes when you go and talk to people about what's going on in your life, you'll either go to people who will affirm what you've always thought, right? So I give an example to say it sometime. I had two best friends, and I had this one friend where if something happened and I went to her, she'd be the kind of who'd be like, we need to go and beat up somebody. Like, no, you don't deserve, like, no, you don't deserve none of that, right? And I have a friend who's like, literally, she's like, so what would Jesus do? Like, what's the, like, she's a Michelle Obama. We go high. And I'm like, ma'am, I'm not trying to go high. I'm in my feelings, right? So my journal has now become the place where I'm like, it's just you and me. Nobody else is priming you. Nobody else is, discouraging you from doing the thing that you need to do. So for me, it's an objective space, but I also use my journaling to refine and reflect on where am I, what's working around what I'm currently doing, what's not working around what I'm currently doing, what do I need to change, what's emerging for me as I work on this journey towards my vision, what things, and sometimes I look back at my journals and I'm like, oh my God, do you see how the dots were already starting to connect? But in the moment, you didn't even realize it. But it's a space. So it's a space to process things objectively. It's a space to get things out of your head and put
Space for your
things on
truth,
down.
because there's no one there. Just
Yes,
you, the pen and the paper, or you and the laptop, whatever, wherever you're
yes,
journaling. So
yes.
there's no
So
need to be anything else but the truthful you when you're journaling.
absolutely,
So
absolutely.
Taffy, where to from now? What is Tafadzwa envisioning? Bring us to your vision board. Bring us into your space. We want to know what to look out for and what to keep you accountable for.
So I'm in a very interesting space. I was talking to my friend
Yeah.
Ruth about it today, and I was saying last year at the start of 2020, I struggled to make my vision board. I struggled. I was doing vision board parties for everybody else, but I just couldn't bring myself to make a vision board. And eventually I got to a place where I said, okay, dear God, I'm not even sure what the vision is at this point. Like, I knew I had seen things, but in my head it was just like, there is more, but I don't know what that more is, right? And so what I
Right.
did last year, I set my vision board for 16 months. And those 16 months are ending in August this year, which is my 32nd birthday. But it was just close to the time that I'm finishing my MBA, right? And I say to
All right.
myself, I'm setting a vision board for how I want to move between now and my 32nd. For some reason, I say to myself, I know that my 32nd is going to be like a new chapter. Earlier on, the vision for when I was 32 was that I would get an MBA. I'd get a MacBook, and I would get some really fancy heels and start charging people in dollars. I am getting my MBA. I am getting my MBA. I now have the MacBook. I am a consultant. So it was going into a place of like, I was like, God, I know we're going to the next level, but I can see the next level now. Like by the time I'm 32, that would have come to pass. So that was one, right? Of like, right now I say to God, I see 32. 32 was our internal vision, our initial
32
vision.
is already here for you.
32 is already here, right? But the other thing that I got was God was saying to me that you don't know enough to set the next vision board, right?
Right.
And interestingly, in that space, one of the things that I've learned now is the idea of the compound effect. and the idea of giving myself time to build long-term things.
You do know you're
Because
gonna tell us what the compound effect is, right?
right, so the idea is, I know that this in my 20s, right? In my 20s, I was in a I had things to catch up with. I had things to do. I had, I had a whole vision board of things that I needed to do. Ta 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 ta.
Mm.
And I was in a rush, and I was moving. Like I was moving. I was hustling. Because I had certain things that I wanted to do and become and get to. And I'm now in a space where I feel like God is saying, Taffy, I've given you all of the things that you set out to do. Now I need you to sit back, be grateful, and enjoy everything that I've given you. And now start working towards my vision, because I've given you all of the things that you want. Now I need you to be grateful and to start committing to the longer term vision.
Is that the compound effect?
So the idea of the compound effect is it's borrowed from compound interest, right? Of like,
right.
You put something in, that something earns interest, and if you don't take it and continue adding a little more over time, that little earns a little more over time. And if you give it a long period of time, it will compound to levels that you might never have reached, no matter how hard you had hustled to make that money. The way that I'm understanding.
So while we are on this compound effect, right?
Mm.
Are you in a place where you don't want to risk, to envision, because you're projecting, putting the responsibility on God? Which space are you in?
Absolutely not. You know me, Soko. You know me.
I know, but the people watching don't. So I have to throw you under the bus.
No, I totally hear you, right? So for example, I know that, so I've been running my business, Go Getter Consultancy, right, for like the last 3-4 years, right? And part of the decision and the conversation we had with God was like, Go Getter Consultancy is going fast. I need you to go further. And part of you going further is getting into a place where you have to work under other people, and you have to cultivate discipline and accountability to a level that you won't be able to do by yourself. And because I'm looking at going further, I've been willing to submit my ego or submit my independence to a vision that is bigger than me. So part of the answer to that is, for example, I'm fully going into a partnership called the Training Leaders Consortium, which is a partnership of training leaders who we are saying, my vision for Goal Getter is to help individuals do better. The vision for the Training Leaders Consortium is we're trying to transform organizational cultures. We're trying to transform economies. We're trying to transform industries. We're trying to transform Africa, right? So I'm not backing off from visioning. Oh, I still have dreams. I still need to finish my gray house. I still need to, get Goal Getter to a certain place. I'm still going to get my Jeep Wrangler. But all I'm saying is I'm at a place where, rather than saying I'm going to make decisions that make sure that in the next 3 years I'm driving a Jeep Wrangler, I'm like, God, I'm willing to do long term. I'm willing to let the things compound.
For me, I have my own. I'm not as sophisticated as you know me. I am the off the cuff, go the red hair. Yeah. I call that the lean back effect. The lean back effect is for sprinters. I learned it when I was, studying Usain Bolt. You lean back to propel further, because even Usain does it. Lean back, my guy, and then you pick up speed. And when you pick up that speed, they won't catch you. They won't catch you. So when people think you're leaning back, they think you're falling back or you're tired. Nah, sweetie. It's just yours has got the fancy term. Mine is called the lean back effect.
So it's actually the thing of like, I love the fact that you're saying lean back, because at a certain period in my time, it was also the idea, and I think this is the idea with our generation, right? That sometimes we constantly feel like people need to see us moving, right? So, and I'm going to be very honest about it. There's a time when I constantly felt like I need to be on the move. People need to see that I'm growing. People need to see that I'm progressing.
You were under pressure.
Yes, in a way I was under pressure of like, continue performing, let people see that you're moving. And now I'm like, no, you don't need to see me moving, right? if my clients are experiencing the best of my service, if organizations are starting to transform because of the work that I'm doing, if my coaching clients are creating and getting bigger results, that's the place where I'm at. So if you don't see me and you think the pera or it's over for me, that's all right, because I know that in the background I have fallen back to do the work. Many times we are so busy looking like we are making progress, such that we don't
When
have the
you're
time to
not.
do the work. We don't have the time to develop depth because we are so busy moving forward. We are so busy spreading ourselves thin. I'm going
Do you
deep.
understand? Now people understand why you are in my circle. They now understand why you're in my circle. You know, I think it was 3 weeks ago, was it a month ago? I don't know. When I had my last coaching session, not this one, my coach said to me, "Bamboo effect," and I was like, "She's there. She goes again." Makosi, she's actually here. Makosi Masambasi.
Oh,
She goes.
I'm in
That's my
awe.
coach.
I'm Makasi. I'm a fan. I saw you
Africa's
followed
number
me.
one
I
coach.
saw
That's
she
my coach.
followed me just before we started. Hi, Makasi. I'm a fan.
Because we were having a session with you about me, for you, there, whatever. And she says tonight, the thing is, people don't know the bamboo goes down before it goes up. So sometimes the people are like bamboo irakafe, but they don't know how deep your roots are going. They don't know how deep your roots are going. So
And I
she's
think it's
always,
a
yeah.
I think it's a gift of maturity. I can tell you this for sure, that I can see that I'm now in a place where there are things that I'm willing to look at differently. There are things that I'm willing to, like, you could have never told me about the bamboo 2 years ago. I wasn't going to have it. I was like, no, why can't I spread my leaves and my branches and go further? But I've gotten to a place, and I think that's the thing of, like, I feel like personally with me, God was like, okay, make your own vision board. Make it. What do you want? You want Fuzzy? You want TED Talk? You want all of these things? I'm going to give them to you. Now I've given them to you. Can you slow down
Lean
so
back.
that we can
Can
go
you lean back?
deeper?
Just
Can you
use
lean
mine.
back?
You should call me to this academy of yours and I'll be the unorthodox coach. Just
You
lean
know,
back.
we will. Listen, I'll invite you
Lean
to the
back.
Go Getter conference. Leaning back. You
I'm
have
hurrying.
decided your session is going to be called Leaning Back. And
I am
we'll introduce you with the lean back. So now, when the people see you walking onto the Go Getter conference stage, dancing to lean back, this will be a deja vu because we've created it.
So tell me, where do people find you? Because now somebody wants to talk to you. And of course, we're gonna get you. I found you on Sogostina's platform discount, but where do they find you?
So on Instagram, my handle is that Go Getter Girl. If you're watching here, you can kind of see my Instagram.
Exactly. Yeah.
And my full names are Tafadzwa Bete Sasa. That's how you find me on LinkedIn and on Facebook as well. And if somebody wants, like, so if you're interested in, for example, coaching or a conversation on anything, my Instagram link, the link in my bio, gives you several ways that we can connect. But if somebody really wants to get in touch with me, say over WhatsApp, Soko, I would trust that you would filter people and who you give access to for me.
Okay.
So people can either
No,
use that
only
link.
the people, listen, only the people who are here are ready to change their lives. So if they lasted this long, ask for your number. I'm giving them your number. If they're
Absolutely,
not
do that.
here, I'm not definitely going to give them, So thank you so much, Tafadzwa. You have justified and validated lesson number 12 from a letter to my son, which says, make a vision board. Because basically what we are learning is I taught people lessons and the lessons are doable. I didn't just think them from the sky. It's actually things that happen, things that are doable. And you can do them too. So thank you so much, Tafadzwa. I know you've got a nugget. What is your mantra? Hit us with it, and then we can say goodbye to you.
No, 2021. For now, 2021, we're just trying to work productively and live presently because tomorrow is not promised by people. So yeah,
Absolutely.
work productively, live presently, hug your people, live your life. We never know how this year is gonna end, but for whilst we're here, we'll do our best. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
having me. This was so much fun. It
so
felt
much.
like a beautiful chat with a big sister. So yeah, honored to have been here. And thank you
Of
to
course.
everybody who
And part of
joined and stayed all the way to the end. Thank you. I see you, and I really
absolutely.
hope that whatever
And
you
I
are
hope they
looking to
follow
share,
you. I hope they follow you. They
please
will
do
get a
follow
lot
me.
from you.
I do
Yeah,
create
they
great
should.
content.
They should. She's got great content. I believe in the woman she is and the woman she's becoming. So please follow her across all social medias, Tafadzwa Bete Sasa, and of course on Instagram. Because you're here, you already know which handle it is to click that plus button. So have a good evening. My love to the family. Thank your husband and your son for sharing their time at night. And I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait for your mighty exploits, Taffy. Bless you, eh?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sako. I'm just as excited for you. And I'm coming when you launch the TV station. I heard that. I'm coming.
Oh, you know it's happening. Well, there you have it. And while I was talking to her, I then decided one of my sign-off lines, which my coach, Makosi, and I give so much credit to her pushing me to do this. She's the one who said to me, you have got to do it. I don't care how you feel. If you've envisioned it, you must take steps to making it happen. So, like she says, this is the new closing line. Remember, you are the opportunity people are waiting to encounter. So until next week, thank you so much. This has been lesson 12, and we'll be bringing lesson 22, relationships. And you, of course, look out for the poster to know who is coming and to us be talking to. I want to thank you so much for always showing up and for always staying with me to the end. Watch on the YouTube channel, refer to the YouTube channel, and of course, please share, so other people can see it. Thank you so much, and good night. Good night, good night.